Hi guys, fantasy artist Ed Beard Jr., also automotive airbrush artist. You can find some more of my work on airbrushbybeard.com. A lot of you guys are my friends, collectors, fans, and you've been following along the journey that I have gone on for a little bit over 300 hours on this side of the 1978 Chevy van called the Shanna Marie, owned by J.P. Keely. I have given you step-by-step photos that I've posted on a variety of social media, and you've been able to come along with me on this journey, following me step-by-step from the drawing stage all the way through to the final paint. But what you haven't seen is the entire piece, and that's mainly because it's almost impossible to photograph prior to it being clear-coated and being outdoors. So we're inside my garage here. We've got some lighting that's the best I could get. You still got a lot of glare, so the best way to do this, to show you the entire piece, is to actually videotape it. So as I move through, there will be some glares, but then it'll come into clarity and you'll be able to see all the color values and shadows and details. So the whole story behind this mural was that the Shanna Marie was once one of the most feared and revered ships on the pirate seas, and it was manned by Shanna, and JP, Captain JP, was her brother. The British took out the ship, and JP, Captain JP, vowed to revenge his sister and inevitably make them all pay. So he basically signed a pact in blood to become undead, much like the Davy Jones curse, and forever hunt down all those responsible for his sister's death. And this is exactly what this scene depicts on the driver's side. Now, a couple of years back, we did the other side, which was the actual ghost ship on the ocean. I'm going to do a quick run by that too with the video, just to give you a reminder once we're done with this side. So, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to Captain JP, the undead, and the story of the Shanna Marie. So we're going to start you off over here on this side, where you'll see the woodwork. All the woodwork, again, done by hand, both airbrush and fine line work. The key light source was this lantern here. That was the main focal point of light source for most of the left side, getting close to the door. As with all pirate captains that have sailed the seven seas, they come upon the shrunken heads, which give them certain mystical powers. And so that's what I've depicted here. Now, these shrunken heads happen to be of insubordinates that were not an agreeable position, and of course Captain JP had to take care of that and show them a lesson. Down here at the bottom of the desk, we see once again one of his either conquests or enemies that he has taken out and utilized their skull as a candle holder. The vial of blood. Instead of the inkwell, we have the blood, and that is the blood of his pact between that and the powers of the dark. Captain JP, of course, has his trusty telescope. Now, all of this work that you see here was hand-drawn by me, sketched out first, and then airbrushed using very, very highly technical cutting with frisket. And that's basically an adhesive film that blocks off areas so that this wouldn't get overspray while I was working strictly here on the brass work. This is an incredibly painstaking process, different from, say, freehand airbrush where you'd get a soft edge. I wanted that crystal clear, crisp look, and the only way to get that is if you mask off everything except the area you're working on. Over here we have, once again, one of his more ominous adversaries. And you can see you've got some kind of a sea serpent crawling out of his eye, the starfish up above, even down to the denture work. Pretty good, actually. I think he had a pretty good dentist. Now the pact itself. Of course, again, written in blood with the quill. And it actually does say something. In some of the photos I've taken, you can flip the image and actually read what it says. It's his pledge to revenge and avenge his sister. The hand. You know, this has always been a challenge when you're trying to replicate flesh, especially on metal. This was done, by the way, with all waterborne PPG and Virobase. These feathers, thousands of brush strokes. And when I say thousands, I mean thousands. This is not done with an airbrush. That is actually done with a liner, one stroke at a time. What I wanted to do with this piece is make it more or less an opus piece for me. Really wanted to emphasize super detail, ridiculous detail, even down to the costume design. Now, wherever the lantern light comes in, everything is normal. And then as you get on to his left side, where this window depicts where the moonlight's coming in, the moonlight reveals the curse, much like the Davy Jones concept. And this is where you start to see the undead, the skeletal collarbone, and then the rib cage down below here, the hand, every little detail, even some of the fluid in the bottle. And as you can see where the lantern light's coming in here, the fingertips are still revealing what he had looked like in life, but the moonlight on that side coming across is converting everything to seeing the actual true state that he is in. Same thing with the face. All the details down to the teeth of his adversaries who dared to challenge him. The hat, again, feathers. Every single feather is a brushstroke. Probably over 2,000. I think I stopped counting it around 2,000. Just for the heck of it, you got to do something when you're spending hundreds of hours on a project. So it was something to consider. Down to the grain of wood. All the wood is a combination of airbrush and line work. What do we have here? But another shrunken head. Now this is his advisor. I like to think of him as the head shaman. No pun intended. The head shaman. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So he's basically when he is allowed to speak. As you can see, his mouth's woven shut. All right, so now we get into the moonlight side where the curse is really heavy. And so the other thing about this van had a window that was already installed, a modern window with a rounded edge. And so what I had to do was try to create an old inside a pirate captain's chamber wood look. You can see the metal trim if you look in the highlights and the glares from the lighting. And I just made this sill does not exist. The actual window is right here. It's a metal aluminum. So we incorporated a real window into the window of the captain's chambers. Down here you have, looks like a little visitor. Octopus. Some brain coral, or maybe that's just brain. This is when you get funky with different curse elements and, of course, aquatic life that's popping up here and there. And then we have the main consultant. He kind of has become part of the ship. Again, very difficult to photograph, so the video should give you a better look. All this wood trim. Everything done both airbrush and by hand brush. Now this flintlock was my own design as well. Very intricate work. You've got the mermaid embossed, carved into what probably would be silver or pewter. And of course, what pirate would be a pirate without some rum on board? And on these rum bottles is a significant indication through a label of something that's very special to Jim Keely, his grandchildren. And the one in the middle is for the future grandchild. Seeing that this vehicle has literally bits and pieces of his entire family between the two portraits of his children and now the grandchildren are identified. Oh, and by the way, his wife Melody is also acknowledged. And you note that I carved her initials into the handle of the flintlock, because that's just in case Jim gets out of line. Melody has first dibs on that weapon. And we faded out the woodwork as we went around the corner. It's really difficult for me to give you guys a complete view of this. I'm doing my best here, but we're limited in space. I can only back up so far. So this is basically a from the door back mural. The doors on the vehicle are kept blank. We will be doing the hood next, but this is giving you a pretty good view of what the whole scene was. Inside the captain's chamber, signing the contract of immortality and the curse of the undead. Appreciate all your support. So many of you made some beautiful comments. Thank you so much for your support and those comments that you made on my social media. If you are looking to have your vehicle, custom hot rod or motorcycle turned into a work of art, and I like to think of this as fine art, then the best way to reach me is just go to my website, airbrushbybeard.com. Send me a quick email. I'll take a look at your vehicle. I tend to focus on high-end jobs. That doesn't mean it's impossible financially. It just means that if you want this kind of crystal clear, tight, detailed work, it is time consuming, but that's how you win the trophies and that's how you get best of show. So again, thank you so much for all your supports and look forward to seeing you when we're working on the hood.